the last few days, there's been a conversation, a debate almost, sparked by a call from the leader of the United Democratic Movement, Bantu Holomisa, when he said on Monday that an interim government should be installed, managed or administered or overseen by the Constitutional Court, because the levels of corruption in government had got so bad. He said that part of this were divisions in the governing party, and as a result, an interim government should be installed. This is part of the argument which he's presented.
Let us discuss this matter. And this is occasioned by the threat from the same government. You claim that it was elected by the people. They were elected to run the country and deliver the services for the people. Instead, what they did, they looted the resources. Was that part of the mandate? But right now, the main threat is that the ANC is imploding. And half of them are saying, we rather go and cause havoc in the streets. That will affect us. That will affect the image of this country. That will affect the service delivery.
Well, let's get a reaction now. The General Secretary of the South African Federation of Trade Unions is Zwelinzima, Vavi. He joins us. Mr. Vavi, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time on the pulse. Do you disagree with Bantu Holomisa?
Well, we do. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the clip that you just played, so I will not be in a way responding to that more specifically. But I've listened to him in various interviews, including one that we have with him on the other portfolios that we are on. Look, the point that we are making is that if we were to say that every time there's a crisis in the ruling party, the ANC, we must consider putting together an interim government, then we will have to do that all the time. Because, let's face it, the ANC has been moving from one crisis to the next crisis for the past 26 years. And at least the first time it enjoyed the solid unity, stability was perhaps in the first 10 years, 5 years for President Nelson Mandela, another 5 years for President Thabo Mbeki. Thereafter, the stability just disappeared to the point that, as everybody will know, the ANC recalled its President Thabo Mbeki at the end of the second time. It would have been wrong at that time to then say that that crisis inside the ANC is the crisis that warrant us to put together an interim government. The ANC lived from that crisis of 2008 and to another crisis when they have to recall President Zuma in 2019. And again now there is a crisis in the ANC. It's a crisis, unfortunately, that seems to be a permanent crisis of a party eating itself up, and slowly but steadily and surely. And I don't think that it would be correct for us who are not members of the ANC, who have absolutely nothing to do with its internal problems, to then say that because there is instability inside the party, our reaction must be to force a regime change. And even though the signs are that despite all of what is happening inside the ANC, but still we have a government, and we have a government that have a cabinet and executive. It is meeting, it is able to meet and to guide the country on various issues. It may be a cabinet that is heavily contested inside and outside by various factions of the alliance, but still the parliament is able to meet, and the parliament is able to do its job, and the police are able to do their job. The army is intact and is able to do its job, directed by the commander-in-chief. Once all of those things are not in place, the day that the cabinet cannot meet, Parliament is unable to meet and function as an independent institution from the executive, and the day that the army revolt and defied its commander-in-chief and the police are no longer in command of the executive, that will be a crisis that warrant an intervention by the people of.
Mr. Vavi, sorry to interrupt you. Is there perhaps a bigger point to make here about how important the Constitution is? The Constitution says that you have elections every 5 years. It says that a government must finish its term. It says that you must follow the Constitution. In other words, what I'm saying is, we can't just, stop playing and take our ball away and change the rules because we don't like the outcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, we have to stay with what we have. This is the view of South African majority, at least those who are still participating in the electoral system, that the ANC has been given a mandate and we must respect that. For the next 5 years, there's absolutely nothing we can do. We who are Democrats must defend that right of the ANC to govern the country for 5 years. And the day that the army or the police try to do what we have seen being happening in other parts of the continent, we in the working class and civil society will rise to say you cannot create a precedent for the country that we will not want repeated over and over. So we will jump in and in defense of a democratically elected government. And so yes, we have a huge respect for General Bantu Holomisa. We work with him to expose corruption in our country, left, right, and center. We see each other as comrades from that perspective. But on this one, we cannot support the call that is making.
So, Zwelinzima Vavi, sir, I really appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed. General Secretary of the South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU.